Happy Wednesday! I am so glad to be back. Thank you so much for your patience last week, you guys. I told you on the broadcast channel that I filmed my last episode, and unfortunately I had filmed it in slow motion. And when I do film them in slow motion, it loses the audio completely. Like, there is no way to play it forward because there's absolutely no audio that saves when that happens. So I'm making sure that that doesn't happen again. But thank you so much for being here for this week. I am so excited to share this one with you because I have been inspired by a post that I saw on Instagram, and I felt that it is so needed to talk about these things because we all want community. Welcome back to Evolving with Amy, a place for growth, self-discovery, and becoming the best version of yourself. I'm gonna read to you guys the quote that I saw on Instagram, and I'll post it here so that you can also see it and read it with me. It says, "People want community, but don't really know how to be in community with others. It requires time and energy, clear communication and accountability, and involves things like conflict resolution, compassion, empathy, and grace. Lack these skills, community becomes even harder to find." Before we even get into the topic, I would love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments, simply because I feel like nowadays I hear a lot of people say that it's so hard to find friends. It's so hard to build with others. It's so hard to find genuine people in your life that you can count on. And I'm not going to disagree with you. I think there is a lot of truth to that, but I also believe that we should hold ourselves accountable and we should discern who should have our time and our energy. I am all about community, and as a giver, as someone that fully gives myself in relationships and friendships and family, I can only give as much as people let me. I can only do as much as people allow. And I can only show up as much as people are willing to bring down their walls and trust that I am showing up as the most genuine, authentic self, not trying to get anything from you and what you think you can offer, but rather here to give you my love, my care, and my energy in the most purest form possible. And that is through love. Being a part of a community is so important because it allows you to feel less alone. And as someone that is now finding new friends where I'm at, and finding community, it is so amazing to see the genuine individuals that I've been attracting simply by fully being myself and letting my walls down to allow people in and be vulnerable, of course, at the capacity that I feel safe. When I saw this quote, I thought it was so interesting because so many people want to be in community with others, but they don't know how to be community to other beings. They don't know how to be a friend. They don't know how to be a villager in a village. They want to show up, they're self-centered, they're selfish, and they want everyone to do, maybe subconsciously, maybe without even knowing that that's the energy that they're requiring, but they are so self-centered that they don't understand that the energy they give off, it's all about them, and they want people to come and do things for them, but they aren't willing to put in time, effort, or sacrifice into other relationships. They're not willing to give. And it got me to think, can you imagine if we all became givers? When we're all givers, we're also simultaneously receiving from one another, that we're literally fulfilling each other's cups. There is no need to take, because we're both giving. We're all giving, as a matter of fact. We're all giving to each other in the capacity that we each need each person to give to. Being in a community, being a friend, it requires time and effort. And a lot of people aren't willing to give that time and that effort. A lot of people are so self-centered and are so consumed by their circumstances that their excuse is I'm busy, that their excuse is that their cup is full, that their excuse is that they cannot be there for you, but they want you to be there for them. They cannot do A, B, and C for you, but they want to rely on you emotionally. They want to rely on you physically. They want to rely on the resources that you're able to give them. They want to rely on your time and your effort and your sacrifice. They're not willing to do nearly as much as you're willing to do for them. And it sucks. It sucks because I have been a part of friendships and relationships and communities where people aren't willing to give, but they are willing to take. And here's the thing about a taker. A person who is a taker is always going to be willing to take. And it is up to the giver to set a boundary to no longer give, because there is nothing being returned or exchanged for their well-being. And it sucks because most takers don't realize this, but their friendships and their connections and their community, which is not really a community, becomes so transactional. Because unless you give me A, B, C, or D, I can only give you A. They have a huge list of things that they require, and the moment you cannot fulfill one of them, they automatically either ghost you, stop being your friend, start distancing themselves, or do whatever they need to do to make themselves feel better. However, these people don't realize the amount of walls that they have up, the amount of love that they're not even allowing into their lives. And I wanted to bring this topic in here because I think it is so important, especially if you are someone who is looking for community, if you're someone who is looking for a friend, if you are someone who is looking to rely on other people, that you need to become someone that people can rely on, that you need to become someone that people can come to. And that you're not going to gossip about them, and that you're not going to share their business with another friend of yours, even if you're close, and that you're not going to tell their business anywhere else, and that they can trust you, and that you are going to do your best to show up for them in whatever capacity they need you to show up for them. Being in community requires time and energy. And that time is the time that you spend with each other, where you talk, where you converse, where you figure out whether or not you're compatible with each other and with the community. Because a community becomes more than one when everyone is a giver, when everyone is abundant, and when everyone is willing to share with one another. It's never a place of lack where I am friends with these 2 people or with these 5 friends, and you can come and be my friend, but don't talk to them or don't show them, because then you're going to take them away from me. That is such lack mentality. That is such a mentality of scarcity, where you feel like things are being taken away from you, instead of wanting to become a community where all of you guys help each other, where some of you may be in the same season in your life and others, and you connect with each other and still are able to support one another in whichever way that you can support each other. We all have different limits. We all come from different backgrounds. We all come from different places, and we can all give at different capacities. Our sacrifices may look different. Our time may look different. Our effort may look different. But it is the moment when you realize that someone who wants to be in community with you is not willing to be a friend, a villager, not someone who's willing to give their time, their effort, clear communication, hold themselves accountable, where you realize like, hey, this person actually doesn't belong in this community, because in this community we're all willing to share, we're all willing to be there for each other, we're all willing to show up and sacrifice and give our time and love and open up ideas, and not be in such scarcity mindset where you're going to be taken away from someone else. Being in community requires clear communication and accountability. How many of you can actually say that if a friend comes and has a conversation with you, you're willing to listen and you're willing to hold yourself accountable for something that you might have said that was wrong, whether or not that was your intention? If someone felt a certain way because of what you did or of what you said, it still made them feel the way that it made them feel, and it still makes their feelings valid. It doesn't make their reaction valid, but their feelings, it makes them valid. And it is of a friend to show up for one another in the areas and in the ways that that person needs you to show up for them. Not too long ago, I was talking to a longtime friend, and she was sharing with me how one of her friends actually was ghosting her. She was in such distress because in her mind, she couldn't understand why her friend was ghosting her. What did she do? Because in her mind, if that friend told her what she was doing wrong, she could fix it, and she could be a better friend, or she can be a better person, or she can show up for her in whichever way she needed her to show up. However, I had a conversation with her, and I shared with her how sometimes when we are growing and other people are unwilling to grow or are unwilling to see the growth that we are experiencing, they want to hold us to who we were in the past, therefore living in the past rather than growing with us. And that's when you realize that certain people aren't meant to be in your life in this season. And if this person is choosing the emotionally immature way of communicating with you, because ghosting is still communicating, that they are letting you go as a friend, then you have a choice. Rather than keep reaching out and keep trying to find out what you did wrong, is take your power back and continue on and pouring into the people and the friendships and the community who also want to be there for you and support you in whichever way you need them to. It's unfortunate that at this day and age, people are still so unwilling to have clear communication and accountability and tell someone, hey, I no longer want to be your friend. The same way you would tell a date, hey, I actually wouldn't like to go on the second date with you. Thank you so much for your time. Or hey, I don't see how we're aligned right now. Maybe we can get together another time. Or hey, I'm taking some time to myself at this moment. I'll let you know when I'm ready to talk. Having those conversations that I know are hard, a lot of people aren't willing to hold themselves accountable. A lot of people get triggered by the change that you're going through. And rather than having empathy, rather than extending grace, extending compassion, they don't want to grow. And so it triggers them that you're willing to go in another path. It triggers them that they didn't go in the path that maybe they're seeing you do it, because you come from the same place, you come from the same background, you grew up together, whatever the reason is. And personally, those are definitely not the people I want in my village. Those are definitely not the people I want to trust and I want to tell my business to and I want to be open with, because those people aren't willing to show up for me in the ways that I need them to. And maybe in the past, in whatever season I was in, because it aligned with what they had going on, we were okay, but maybe now they're not. And unfortunately, they don't have the emotional maturity to have that conversation with me or clear communication with me, that in this moment we're just not aligned, and that's okay. To be a part of a community, you need to be able to be vulnerable and have tough conversations with people. There are times when people are going to upset you in your community. There are times when people are going to disappoint you. We're all human beings. There are times where you might be hurt by someone's behavior. And it's unfortunate because we grow resentment towards people without communicating to them what they did, without communicating to them if we had an expectation. And then we expect people to know exactly how we need them to show up for us without clear communication. On the other end, you also have to know that if you're looking for friends and if you're looking for a community, you have to be willing to put your walls down. You have to be willing to be open and let people in. I have had friendships and people in my life who want me to share everything that is going on with me, but aren't willing to share a peep of what they have going on in their life. And those relationships have felt so distant because I have realized that they want to know everything that's going on with me, but they're not willing to be open and vulnerable about what they have going on in their life, whether it comes from an insecure place, whether it comes from trust issues, whether it comes simply because they don't want others knowing about what they have going on. I've realized that those are also not the people that I want to pour my time, my energy, and my efforts into. And I don't know if you've ever felt yourself be in this place where you excuse people's behaviors because they're busy, or you're excuse people's behaviors because they have something new going on in their life, or because of whatever the reason is, or whatever excuse you give them or you've believed. But I've learned that people will show up for you in whichever way you need them to, especially if things are communicated. And those people that are unwilling to do that is because they're takers. And maybe they don't even realize that they're takers. They don't even realize that they're energy drainers. And to those people, I say, and I wonder, do you not see that you may be the common denominator? Do you not see the people leaving your life? Do you not see that yes, it's okay to have boundaries, but the limits that you're setting around others is maybe probably to protect yourself. However, you're not even allowing people in to pour into you in the ways that you wish they would. Do you not see how alone you are in this world? And it's sad. It's sad because when it comes to seeing people that you love go through different things in their lives and seeing that they're unwilling to be open and unwilling to be vulnerable, and you are so willing to give, but they're not willing to put their walls down, what do you do then? For those of you guys who are givers, I tell you, you also have to set boundaries for yourself. There is only so much you can give before your cup becomes empty. There is so much effort and time and energy and sacrifice that you can give and go through and experience before you are ran dry. And you shouldn't be running dry for anyone, because if you're in a community where everyone is giving to each other, you're all pouring from an overflowing cup. And that is the beauty of community. I am experiencing such a beautiful and new community here where I am now, because I am pouring into people. They are pouring into me. They are having me meet other people and grow my community while I'm growing with them in their community. And we're pouring into each other and we're giving each other energy and we're giving each other love and support and showing up in the capacity that they need us to show up in. We all receive love in different ways, in different capacities, and learning and wanting to learn how someone else receives love is the beauty of being able to nourish a relationship with another human being so that that relationship can flourish. That is part of being in a community. Regardless of where you come from, regardless of your background, regardless of how you grew up, is giving to others from a place of abundance, from a place of here is who I am, here is what I give. And when you give from the heart, you never lose. Whether or not the people wanted to receive that or not, when you give from the heart, your genuine heart, and you truly give your time, your effort, your sacrifice, your attention, your love, you never lose. Those people who aren't willing to accept it will. And also as a giver, setting yourself boundaries and having the discernment of knowing who you're going to give your time, your effort, and your energy to is so important. I love the end of this quote because they said, it involves things like conflict resolution, compassion, empathy, and grace. Lack these skills, community becomes even harder to find. Community becomes harder to find when you lack the giving aspect of things. When all you ever want to do is take, when all you ever want to do is be the focus of the conversation, the focus of what is happening. We're all human beings. We're all imperfect and we all make mistakes. We all have really great aspects of us and we all have things that we all need to work on. It's a normal thing. It's a normal thing to experience with those of us. But grace, compassion, empathy, which means feeling for another being and what they're going through and extending that grace and compassion, that yes, maybe right now isn't the time, but when the time does come, are these people showing up for you in the way that you need them to? Are they showing up for you and communicating with you in the ways that make you feel loved and cared for? That's what community is. We show up for one another. We support one another. We love one another. We care for one another. It's in the moments of sick, but also in the moments where things are going so well that you want to reach out to your community and share with them how great things are going, because you know that they're going to be so happy for you and applaud everything that is happening in your life. Some people want community for their own benefit and not to benefit the actual community. And of course, we're talking about community as a whole, but also friendships. It's so sad to see how selfish we can be and how self-centered we can be and say, what can I gain from being friends with this person? What can I gain from knowing this individual? What can I gain? And how sad is it that your thought process is what you can gain instead of what you can give? As I shared earlier, the moment we changed our mentality from what can I gain to what can I give, you start to attract the most genuine people in your life. You really start to align with those individuals who are so willing to give that it doesn't even matter what they take. Being part of a community is an investment. Being a part of a community is about reciprocity. Being a part of a community is about being there for one another, and not for my own benefit, but for the benefit of all of us. What can we all gain? How can we all do better? How can we all feel loved, cared for, and supported by one another? What can we all do for our community? What can we all do for each other's families? What can we all do? Is people showing up for you in unexpected and magical ways, because you are so giving and so willing to take the time to get to know another individual and to take the time to pour from your heart out. Community is about the people, and you and I are the people. The investment that we take on one another and those people around us is the best thing that you will ever invest in. Having people that are supportive, having people that you can count on, having people that you can call, having people around you. That is the best gift that this life will ever give you. And if you are on the other side thinking that finding friends is hard because they aren't genuine friends, I want you to know, and I'm gonna hold you accountable when I say this, you are living in a scarcity mindset. And there is ways to get out of that scarcity mindset. But it's the same way how people say there's not enough good men in the world. You are living in a scarcity mindset. Good people exist. You're just not attracting them because there is some work to do on the other side. There are some things that you need to let go of. Maybe be open more, maybe be willing to be more vulnerable, maybe be willing to allow people in. We've all been hurt at some point. We've all been disappointed. We've all been angry at others. But it is the lack of accountability and communication that hasn't allowed these relationships to mend or to better. And I'm not saying that we should be friends with everyone and we should reconnect or connect with everyone. There are some seasons in our lives where people aren't just going to align, and there are other times when we can come back as the better, more evolved version of ourselves and reconnect with other individuals. We never have to ghost anyone. We never have to disrespect anyone. We never have to go so low that we hurt people on purpose, ever. If you are someone who's currently looking into bettering your community or maybe even finding friends, you are, number one, already in the right place because you're already looking to evolve and to become the best version of yourself. So thank you so much for taking the time for you to be here. And also, there are so many ways to find community, not just online, but in your communities wherever you are. So many people just like you are looking for friends, are looking for community. And I think when we communicate with others clearly on what we're looking for, on what we'd want, on the things that we don't like, and we're willing to be open with one another and vulnerable, it's the best way that we can build community and relationships. And again, you're not going to align with everyone, and that's okay. You shouldn't align with everyone. Not everyone should like you. Not everyone should be a part of your community. Remember that it is about quality over quantity. And even if you have, for right now, just yourself or one good friend that you can count on, that you can rely on, that you can call, continue to be a good friend to yourself and to them. Continue to become the best version of yourself, because when you become the best version of yourself, whoever doesn't want to grow will fall off. And whoever wants to continue to grow or is already there, you will be connected with. That's just how energy works. You can't be on a different radio station trying to listen to the same thing. In order for you or more people to be listening to the same song on a radio station, you have to be and set your radio to the specific radio station for everyone to hear the same song at the same time. It's the same thing how relationships work. It's the same thing how you get aligned with certain things. You attract where you're at. And if you're not attracting anything good in this moment or anything that you see that you want in your life, there may be still some work to do. There is always work to do in our lives. We can always be better. We can always give more. We can always have more grace. We can always have more compassion. We can always be more graceful. We can always be more loving. We can always be more kind. We can always be more. So take the time for yourself. Take the time to figure out where you are, what you want and your desires and continue to work on becoming the best version of yourself. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I hope that you continue to grow. I can't wait to hear everything in the comments that you guys have to share. Thank you so much for being here, for being on my personal channels, and for spending your day with me. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.